your relationships across spectrums, whether it's mortgage or real estate or title or development. I mean, you have a pretty broad stroke on those within your sphere. How do you manage that? Because you are one of the best at, in my experience has been, at follow-up, at touching, at dripping, whatever you want to call it, right? So how do you find the time in the day to manage that experience and stay consistent?
Well, first of all, if we go back, I haven't always been that generous with my time.
I'm just talking about in the last week.
But yeah. But that was part of it. I've definitely since in the last, say, 15 years had much, much better balance, because when I was, your age, early 30s, I would go ahead and or late
32,
20s.
33.
30, yeah. When I was your age, I worked, very, very hard and very, probably to the detriment of everything, because I wasn't as balanced. And now I would say now that I'm a lot more balanced than I was. But to answer your question, I think wherever you are, you need to get some type of, whether it's Salesforce at the very top, or whether it's some type of CRM system. I have an off the shelf software system, version 14 from 1995, called ACT. You can go buy it, at Office Depot today. I mean,
that's what you use, and you just stuck with it through the years.
And so, because I'm not that smart, I go in every day to my office and I walk in. There's 15 alerts on there. There's 15 items that I have to do that day, and I don't leave until I do those 15.
Okay.
And so it's.
Do you knock them out early? Or do you
I'm consistent across the day.
How do you overcome the procrastination, or is there just no
There's
option?
no procrastination.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't procrastinate.
Okay.
Can't do it.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's 15 items, and so I'll get, and I don't put more than 15, typically 12 to 15 items.
Okay.
And it just tells me I've got to call Steve O. Johnson today.
Okay.
I've got to do this. I've got to send this out to somebody. I've got to do this presentation. And it's just all consistent.
Okay.
And consistency is everything. In any business, it is 100% about the follow-up.
Well, and you have that track record, right? I mean, you've been in other industries. The one that you've been in, you're at the top of the mountain, and so you're saying that the consistency in what you expect out of yourself and how you deliver that product, and for you, the product is not only yourself, but it's an experience. Because at the end of the day, we're in the commodity world, right?
Right.
You're a commodity. What you're delivering is a commodity, and the perception is, well, I can go to Stewart Title, I can go to Chicago Title, I can go to Heritage Title, I can go to Independent, I could go any of these, right? And you're selling an experience.
Well, and it's a little bit, that's true, but it's a little bit more than that.
Okay.
And in Texas, especially in the title industry, because we all charge exactly the same.
Right. Yeah.
So it's even there.
It's regulated.
It's regulated.
Yeah.
There's no quarter of a point difference. Not that should matter really, but it
does
does.
It levels the playing
it
field
levels
for
the
you
playing
guys.
field. And so, there's three ways, and this is a big secret. I hope that nobody at those places that you mentioned, listen to this podcast, although I'm sure they will.
They're getting trade secrets, man, as we speak.
But basically, there's three things that every single client needs. One of three things, or a combination of all three. They need their debt, they need equity, or they need deal flow.
Okay, let's walk through that.
Yeah.
They need debt, they need equity, or deal flow.
Right.
The debt that's being delivered,
right,
where you're partnering with a lender,
right.
The equity is the equity that they need in the project,
correct.
And then let's walk through the deal flow.
Deal flow.
Yeah.
If something that I can disclose falls out of contract, I've got a list of about 15 names that I send out. This deal is out there.
Okay.
And it's just different than what most people do.
Okay.
Nobody does that.
Okay.
Nobody, yesterday I got a call from a guy in Houston, big time guy, big name. And he said, I've got a seasonal housing facility. It's 88% leased. I need, 50 to 55% loan to cost or loan to value. I need, about 26 million. Who in Austin would do that? And I sent him 10 names, and so that's value add on something that if he, and he's got a term sheet on a couple of them.
Yep.
And that is going to be something that he will do his next deal with us because I was helping him with that. I also, same thing with equity. You know, I've got people that will invest 25,000 that I know of in equity, and it's all on basically 3 Excel spreadsheets. I use Excel every day,
Yep.
even though I'm an old dude.
Yep.
You know,
Well, that's
1906.
why I use Excel. That's all you know.
That's all I know. You know, that's all I know. I mean, you know, it used to be Lotus Notes.
That's
People
right.
don't know what Lotus Notes is, but you know, when you've been doing this since 1906, as you
Well, I
pointed
thought
out
it
a
was
couple
1896.
times. Well,
was it?
that's when I was born.
Okay, that's
yeah.
true. Okay,
So
never mind.
1906 is when I started doing.
Started.
This.
Okay,
Yeah,
there you go.
They ended up, you know. But if I have these 3, you know, basically Excel spreadsheets, and so somebody comes in and says, "Hey, I need between 25,000 and 500 million."
Yeah.
I know the guys to do that.
So you mentioned. So when I hear you say, "Yeah, I gave him 10 names," to me, that seems excessive.
Yeah.
Like, why do you give 10? It could be 8, right? But why are you giving him 10 instead of 3 or 4?
Well, typically, you know,
And
10
then say,
is
"Hey,
kind
I'm
of
going to give you
probably
3 or 4," and
exaggeration.
if there's, you know,
Yeah, I typically, depending on what it is, I send 5.
okay,
Is kind of a rule of thumb.
Okay.
But you know, I've got another 5 behind it,
okay.
just in case.
And do you give these guys a heads up? Like,
I do.
Okay,
I do.
you say,
I
"Hey,
typically make
so-and-so might
I
be-"
typically make virtual introductions.
Okay, and
yeah.
and like me, whenever I do that, whether it's mortgage related, real estate, title, whatever it may be, I do the same thing. Right? I'm like, "Hey, Bob, heads up, so and so may be calling you."
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's it helps continue this the cementing the relationship with that source. And these could be people in my industry that would be considered competition. I just consider them colleagues. It's like,
Right.
"Hey, so and so, you know, I think can take care of you. I'm not going to be able to," but I take the time to make sure that that they understand that they're in my sphere, and you do the same thing. And what that does, again, it's a pay it forward mentality. And you find that's, I would imagine for you, that's been very successful for you.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, it's absolutely great.
Yeah.
And it's just so helpful to know that I help them make money.
Yes.
And it has nothing to do with me. You know, I am a licensed broker, and I have been since
Licensed real estate broker?
licensed real estate broker
Okay.
since 19. You probably didn't know that, but
Well,
since
and neither did Stuart.
1981. Yeah, they know. They know. I told them, but I don't use it.
Okay.
I've never used it.
Well, then that's a
So, but I keep it because if you don't keep
Don't
it,
use it, yeah.
you lose it. You know, so you know, my dad's a licensed broker. You know, and
Okay.
so we've had it forever, and so we just continue to keep it. Now, that being said, people say, "Well, I'll give you 2% if you get this deal done, or I'll
Yeah.
give you 3% or 4% or whatever the number is." And I said, "No, I'll tell you what, just close with me. I don't want the perception."
Same thing with me.
Just close the
right?
deal
With
with
some
me.
of the builders
Yeah.
that I refer business to,
Yeah.
they're like, "Hey," I'm like, "No, man, we're in it together.
We're in it
Yeah,
together.
just keep,
Yeah.
you know, if you have a client referral, send them over. It all works itself out.
Absolutely.
Okay.